Discover how a homeless girl's incredible kindness healed a billionaire's heart in just 30 days. In the bustling streets of Chicago, an unremarkable dawn broke, but for 16-year-old Lily, it was another day to spread kindness. Clad in threadbare clothes, she darted past the sleek cars and towering buildings, her heart beat like a drum against the raw chill in the air. To many, she was just another invisible face among the city's forgotten. But Lily had a spirit that shined brighter than the sun, even on the coldest days. Today, she spotted a fellow homeless man, Gary, rummaging through trash for leftover scraps. She dug deep into her pocket, extracting the last granola bar she saved for herself. "Here, Gary, take this," she said, a soft smile warming her face. His eyes lit up. "Thank you, Lily. You're an angel." Moments like these filled her heart with such joy and satisfaction, reminding her that even in despair, kindness was a currency more valuable than money. Across town in his lavish penthouse, Marcus Steele stared blankly at the intricate skyline that had once been his pride. The walls felt like a prison, trapping him with memories of family dinners, laughter, and the joy of connection. He had chased success with a fervor that had cost him everything: his family, his friends, the warmth of love. Loneliness seeped into every corner of his being, leaving him hollow. He thought fleetingly about reaching out, but quickly dismissed it, afraid of the vulnerability that came with it. Living the good life had shattered him, leaving behind a shell of a man seeking solace in a world he no longer understood. Then fate intervened one brisk afternoon when their paths collided in a community center kitchen where an initiative was underway to feed the homeless. Lily, with her boundless energy, was volunteering, her laughter echoing joy in that place. Marcus, reluctantly attending to evaluate sponsorship opportunities, caught her vibrant spirit. The contrast was stark. There stood Lily, bright-eyed and hopeful amidst the chaos, while he felt out of place, engulfed by guilt and discomfort at the sight of her radiant kindness that he had long ceased to possess. As they began to chat, his initial unease morphed into curiosity. "Why do you do this?" he asked, a hint of skepticism in his voice. Lily simply shrugged. "We're all we've got. If I can make just one person smile, it's worth it." Her words struck him like a lightning bolt, cracking open his carefully constructed armor. In those moments, beneath layers of doubt, Marcus found himself longing to break free, not just from his penthouse, but from the chains of his crumbling heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and their odd friendship blossomed amidst moments that tugged at the heartstrings. Marcus learned not just about resilience but about the richness of human connection. Lily, in turn, began to see ambition in a new light, an opportunity instead of a threat. Yet, as their bond deepened, shadows of Marcus's estranged sister Jenna loomed closer, reaching out for reconciliation and forcing Marcus to face what he had avoided for so long. Just as they began to harmonize life's rhythm together, an unexpected incident threatened to shatter their newfound connection. A crisis demanded their attention, merging their worlds in an urgent tide of community need. Could Marcus capture the love he had nearly lost with Jenna while protecting the remarkable friendship he found with Lily? Standing at this crossroads, one question resonated: would kindness and the courage to embrace vulnerability lead him toward healing or further isolation? The stakes had never been higher, and as their story unfolded, the enticing promise of transformation lingered just out of reach. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the city. Inside the bustling community center, the atmosphere buzzed with an anxious energy. Marcus felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, knowing the upcoming donation event would be pivotal for the homeless families he had grown to care about through Lily's eyes. This wasn't just about numbers anymore, it was about people. Hey, you okay? Lily's voice cut through his thoughts, bringing him back to the present. She stood before him, wiping her hands on a worn-out apron, her blue eyes sparkling with curiosity. The corners of her mouth turned up, radiating a warmth that seemed to melt away his anxiety. Just thinking I want this event to mean something, he confessed, running a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. It will, Marcus. You're doing it for the right reasons. Her sincerity added a layer of comfort, yet doubts lurked in his mind. Could he really navigate this emotional minefield with Jenna on one side and Lily on the other? I'm not used to this feeling good about helping people, he admitted, glancing at the donation boxes filled with clothes and food. It's new territory for me. Lily nodded, her expression serious for a moment. Sometimes the best paths are the hardest. It's okay to feel scared. Just don't let that stop you. The conviction in her voice made his heart race. She believed in him. As the event commenced, the space filled with laughter and the sounds of community, a mixture of hope and warmth. But behind the smiles, Marcus felt the tension tightening in his chest. Despite the cheerful atmosphere, thoughts of Jenna flickered through his mind like shadows chasing the light. What if she showed up uninvited? Then, as if summoned by his doubts, she entered. Jenna appeared at the entrance, her face a mask of uncertainty. Their eyes met, and for a split second, time seemed to freeze. She had changed, cut her hair, and yet the familiarity in her features struck him hard. Lily, ever observant, whispered, "You have to talk to her. This is your moment." "Lily, I'm not ready for this." His voice trailed off as he wrestled with emotions swirling inside him, a cocktail of anger, sadness, and long-buried love, but without waiting for his decision, Lily moved closer to Jenna, gentle yet assertive. "Hi. You must be Marcus's sister. I'm Lily. It's so nice to finally meet you." Marcus felt his breath hitch at the sight. Would their kindness connect or expose the fissures in his heart? The moment stretched, laden with tension, as if the world had drawn a deep breath, waiting to see what would unfold. "Nice to meet you," Jenna replied, her voice faltering. "I've heard a lot about you from Marcus. Good things, I hope." Lily smiled brightly, but Marcus could see the nervousness in her eyes as she glanced back at him. He took a shaky breath, stepping forward, his heart pounding like a drum. "We need to talk. Just us." There was no turning back now. The stakes felt impossibly high. Would he manage to rebuild the bridge with Jenna while fostering this beautiful friendship with Lily? Could he harness the strength of both women in his life to rise above the hurt and confusion? There in that crowded room filled with laughter, hope turned fragile, and vulnerability lay bare. As he edged closer to the inevitable confrontation, a question loomed larger than ever. How would he bring healing to both his past and present when his heart felt so torn? Marcus wiped his sweaty palms on his jeans, feeling the weight of every eye in the room as he approached Jenna. The community center buzzed around him, but all the laughter faded into a dull thrum in the background. He glanced back at Lily, her encouraging smile giving him a faint sense of courage. He forced himself to turn back to Jenna, whose uncertain expression pierced through the hum of voices. "Can we go outside?" He gestured toward the slightly ajar door leading to the small patio, shaded by an old oak tree. He needed air, and the thought of being outside made the bubbling anxiety feel a little more manageable. "Sure," Jenna replied softly, nodding as she moved past him. Her footsteps were hesitant, and Marcus wondered if she felt the same weight pressing down on her chest. Once outside, the evening air enveloped them, a stark contrast to the chaotic warmth inside. The fading sunlight bathed everything in a soft glow, and for a moment, the beauty of the day almost distracted him from the turmoil brewing within. But then he glanced at Jenna, and the familiarity of her presence drew him back to reality. "Why did you come?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Could she sense his inner turmoil? I wanted to see you," she admitted, her eyes darting to the ground. "I didn't know if you should." I know. The words tumbled out before he could filter them. I wasn't sure if I wanted to see you either. They felt raw and honest, cutting through the tension. She flinched but quickly regained her composure. Things have changed, Marcus. I've gone through a lot. I didn't just expect you to wait for me. I didn't. I tried to move on, he snapped, frustration boiling over. But it's hard when I don't even know where you stand anymore. Jenna took a deep breath, and silence stretched between them, the only sound coming from the rustle of leaves overhead. The warmth of the sun began to wane, and he felt a chill creep in. I had to come. I've been thinking about my life, about all the mistakes I've made, Jenna said, now looking him in the eye. Her vulnerable honesty hit him like a wave, washing away some of his tension. And I miss you. You don't get to just miss me, Jenna. It's not that simple, he retorted, but his voice lacked the conviction he wanted it to have. The hurt in her expression softened him, and he took a step closer, trying to bridge the distance that felt like a canyon between them. You left. You chose to leave everything behind. And now? It's like you just waltzed back into my life. I didn't mean to come back like this, she said, her voice trembling. I'm sorry if it seems insincere, but I am trying to figure things out. I need to fix what I messed up with you, with everything. Her honesty tugged at his heart. He could see her battling her own demons, a fight he recognized well. I don't want you to feel like you owe me. This isn't about fixing things just for me. He swallowed hard, the lump in his throat refusing to budge. But I do owe you, Marcus. I shouldn't have left you behind. You mean something to me. Before she could finish, he stepped back, needing space to process the flood of emotions overwhelming him. Could she mean it? Was there still a chance for them after everything? Meanwhile, Lily watched from a distance, sensing the tender fragility of the moment unfolding. She knew it was crucial, and just as she thought hope might spark, the door swung open behind her. A man, tall and robust, entered the scene, a flash of recognition sparking in Jenna's eyes. Is that Marcus? Started, his voice catching in disbelief. Jenna paled, her expression shifting from resolution to horror as she turned back to Marcus, panic filling the space. I didn't think he'd come here. I thought I had more time. What do you mean? Marcus demanded, his heart racing. Would this sudden interruption unravel everything they had just started to piece together? The air between them thickened with unspoken words, and Marcus could feel the weight of an uncertain future pressing down harder than ever. What lay ahead, hope or heartbreak? Jenna's face went pale, and Marcus felt the surge of panic wash over him. The man stepped onto the patio, his confident stride betraying an authority that felt uncomfortable in the warm evening light. His eyes were fixed on Jenna, an intensity that seemed to pull her from Marcus as if she were a marionette severed from its strings. Jenna, the man said, his voice deep and commanding. We need to talk. Marcus clenched his fists, wrestling with the immediate jealousy rising within him. Who was this guy? Why did Jenna look so scared? Please, can we just have a moment? Jenna pleaded, the tremor in her voice slicing through the tension. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, the man countered, glancing briefly at Marcus, his expression unreadable. We both know what's at stake. Marcus's heart hammered in his chest. Who did this guy think he was? He stepped forward, ready to protest, ready to defend the fragile connection he had with Jenna. Do you even know what she's been through? His voice caught on the edge of fury. Marcus, stop, Jenna interjected, her tone sharp. She reached out, her hand brushing against Marcus's arm, grounding him for a fleeting moment. Please, it's complicated. Complicated? Marcus's voice cracked, desperation creeping in. It shouldn't be. You came here to face the truth. He turned to the man, his eyes blazing. And you're just going to barge in? And Jenna's voice trembled, he's my brother. Shock silenced him. Marcus searched her face, hoping she would clarify, that their eyes would connect and he'd find some explanation in the depths of her gaze. Your brother? Yes, she confirmed, her voice barely above a whisper. He's been looking for me, and I wasn't ready to see him, not like this. The revelation hung heavy between them, the realization sinking in. The brother who had come to retrieve her, the brother who may have been a part of her past that Marcus knew nothing about. The man extended his arm toward her, as if beckoning her to come closer. Jenna, you need to come home. It's not safe out here. Safe? Marcus scoffed, the word bitter on his tongue. Is that what you call leaving her? You think coming in here now changes that? Marcus. Jenna shook her head. Please, let me explain. For a moment, Marcus felt like the earth beneath him was crumbling. The air felt thick, suffocating. He had stepped outside to find clarity, hoping to reshape their fractured relationship into something meaningful, only to be confronted with shadows of her past that left him reeling. I don't want to lose you, Jenna. The confession broke free, vulnerable and raw. Not when I finally thought we thought you wanted to be here. Her eyes glistened, fighting back tears. I do want to be here, she asserted with sudden strength. Just not like this. A gust of wind rustled the leaves, and it felt like the world around them paused. Could he compete with family ties? Could he pull Jenna from the uncertainty that overshadowed them? The man stepped forward again, the urgency evident in his movements. We're running out of time. Mom's worried sick. We can't do this in public. Enough. Jenna screamed suddenly, her voice sharper than any blade. You have no idea what I've gone through. Don't you dare reduce this to some family problem. Marcus watched, a mix of admiration and confusion churning within him. The fire in her voice brought him hope. For the first time, Jenna was standing strong, refusing to be a victim of her circumstances, but would that stand be enough to keep her with him? He wanted to reach out, to remind her that she wasn't alone anymore. Instead, he found himself frozen, an outsider in this unfamiliar story. The tension rose as Jenna turned back to Marcus, their eyes locking in an electric moment. I need to choose, and I need you to understand I don't want to turn my back on either of you. But I can't let my past dictate my future, not anymore. Would she find that balance? Or would her brother's influence pull her away, unraveling the delicate thread of hope they had begun to weave? The air was charged with uncertainty, each heartbeat echoing in the silence that followed. What decision would Jenna make next, and what would it mean for Marcus's heart? Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She stood poised between two worlds, the aura of family obligation and the quiet promise of a life she wanted to build. The evening air thickened with her uncertainty. Marcus watched her, his own heart a battleground of fear and hope. Jenna, the man. Her brother took another step closer, the seriousness in his demeanor growing. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about all of us. You need to understand that. What I understand, Jenna replied, her voice gaining strength as her resolve settled in, is that I'm not a child anymore. I can't just run away from my life. I've fought for every inch of peace I've found. Marcus felt the swell of admiration for Jenna blaze inside him. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was asserting her worth. But the storm brewing within him refused to abate. He clenched his jaw, his fingers twitching with the urge to reach out to her. Your family is worried about you, her brother pressed on, clearly irritated. Mom deserves to know you're safe. She's waiting for you. Waiting for me? Jenna shot back, her eyes narrowing. Is that really why you're here? Because she's worried? It's not just her, Marcus interjected, his voice rising. What about what she wants? What about you? The desperation in his voice surprised him. You're not some token to be returned home just because it's convenient. Silence wrapped around them all, thick and heavy. Jenna's brother's eyes flickered in irritation. He looked at Marcus as if weighing and measuring him, before turning back to Jenna. Life doesn't wait, he stressed. You have responsibilities. You can't ignore them. Don't you want to come back to where you belong? Jenna flinched at his words, the piercing truth etched on her face. I'm not sure where that is anymore, she murmured. Her gaze dropped to the ground, wrestling with her thoughts like a puppet tangled in strings. Jenna, come with me, her brother urged, the plea in his deep voice softening. You deserve to be with family. We can figure this out together. The mention of family stung. Did she even see herself as part of that world anymore? Each memory of laughter and love was shrouded in shadows that haunted her. Marcus wanted to sweep her up and take her away from it all. To a place where she could breathe and be free. But the battle for her heart wasn't just against her brother, it was against her own past, that relentless ghost that seemed to whisper in her ear, warning her of pain and betrayal. Maybe it's time to find out what that really means, she said finally, voice trembling slightly. But it also means confronting everything I've left behind. Let me help you face it, Marcus urged, taking a hesitant step forward, yearning to close the distance between them. You don't have to do this alone. Jenna hesitated, torn between commitment to her family and the bond she was beginning to form with Marcus. The choice loomed over her, heavier than the humid air of the evening. Her brother crossed his arms, respect giving way to exasperation. I can't let you keep hiding. This is about so much more than a simple decision, Jenna. Is it? She challenged, daring to look him in the eye. Or is it just easier for you to dictate my life? Moments stretched out like a rubber band ready to snap. Jenna felt her heart racing as the tension clung to her. Marcus's eyes were filled with a mix of encouragement and worry. He could see the battle raging within her, and his own heart sank at the thought of losing her to the weight of family loyalty. Jenna, he pressed gently, whatever you decide, I'll support you. Just know this isn't just about your past, it's about your future, too. Her gaze shifted back to her brother, then to Marcus. Instinctively, she reached for Marcus's hand, seeking the comfort of his warmth. It felt like a small but defiant act. Take a breath, Jenna, her brother said, frustration simmering just beneath the surface. The clock is ticking. With her pulse pounding like a war drum, Jenna found the courage to embrace the uncertainty head-on. The echoes of her past were still there. But the promise of a newfound strength stirred within her. Would she stand her ground against family demands? Or let them pull her back into a life she fought so hard to escape? In that moment of indecision, the air crackled, and she knew she had to make her choice. What would she decide, and would it change everything for Marcus and herself? Jenna took a deep breath, the weight of her brother's words hanging heavy in the air. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that clawed at her feet. A soft breeze rustled the leaves, as if nature itself was urging her to choose. Jenna. Marcus whispered, his voice barely rising above the murmur of the trees. He still held her hand, the warmth radiating between them a lifeline in the tumult. You don't have to rush this. Take your time. But every second felt like a lifetime. The suffocating expectations of her family pressed against her chest, while the flicker of freedom that Marcus represented pulled at her heart. The tug-of-war spun inside her, fast and ferocious. I don't want to let anyone down, she replied, her voice trembling. It felt like a confession as much as it was a plea. But coming back feels like giving up on everything I've fought for. Then don't see it that way, Marcus responded, his voice firm but full of tenderness. You're not giving up on anything. You can choose to step back and still find your own path forward. Jenna's brother scoffed. This isn't just about decisions, Jenna. It's about loyalty, obligation. You can't just pretend you're above it all. His frustration hung like a storm cloud, threatening to burst. Before Jenna could respond, a small voice broke through, shattering the tension. A little girl, no older than 6, peeked from behind a tree. Her wide eyes glanced between Jenna, Marcus, and the brother. Are you guys okay? She asked innocently, concern etched on her face. Jenna felt her heart melt. The child's sweetness was a reminder of what mattered most: connection, kindness, purity. We are, sweetie, she replied, kneeling down to meet the girl's gaze. Just trying to figure things out. Marcus's expression softened as he watched Jenna. The way she interacted with the girl stirred something deeper within him. The light in Jenna's eyes when she helped others was captivating. She was built for compassion, even amid her turmoil. Do you want to play? The girl offered, extending a small, sticky hand, eyes sparkling with innocence. Jenna hesitated, glancing back at her brother and Marcus, the heaviness of the world pressing down on her. But she felt the faintest flicker of hope. Maybe for just a moment, she could escape. Maybe she could allow herself to believe in simple joys. As she accepted the girl's hand, a wave of warmth surged through her. The laughter of the child fell like a soothing balm on her troubled heart. All right, let us play. Jenna exclaimed, a smile breaking across her face. Marcus couldn't help but grin at the transformation. He watched as Jenna laughed, her worry momentarily forgotten. In that small act of joy, he saw flickers of the life she yearned for, the one where she would be free to belong to herself. Her brother shifted, watching the scene with a mixture of confusion and frustration. This isn't going to change anything, he muttered, frustration boiling over, but Jenna shook her head, her eyes bright with determination. Maybe you're right, but I have to explore what's out there first, she countered, feeling a thread of strength weaving its way through her fears. I owe it to myself to find out who I am outside of family obligations. The little girl tugged at her hand, pulling Jenna away into a nearby clearing, laughter echoing back to Marcus and her brother. As they played, Marcus felt a piece of Jenna's heart shift closer to the open skies above them. You're doing amazingly, Jenna, he murmured, taking a step forward. You're not giving up, you're finding your voice. For the first time, she believed that maybe he was right. And that realization felt liberating, but as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting deep shades of orange and purple, it became increasingly clear that the real battle was only beginning. Would she be ready to confront the storm brewing within her family? Jenna stole a glance at her brother, who stood a few feet away, arms crossed, watching her. Was he closer to acceptance or to regret? Tonight, she would revel in this newfound freedom. But would tomorrow draw her back into the weight of family ties, or would she find the strength to assert herself again? As laughter faded into the night, Jenna's heart pounded with the promise of change and the uncertainty of what was to come. The sound of a giggle echoed in the clearing, ringing clear as the night deepened around them. Jenna felt a rush of joy as she chased the little girl, whose energy seemed boundless. They darted among the trees, weaving in and out of soft shadows, until they came to a stop, both of them catching their breath. Let us make wishes, the girl suggested, her eyes shining brighter than the stars above. She pointed at the first twinkling lights that began to appear in the dusky sky. If you see one, you blow a kiss and make a wish. Jenna laughed, the child's enthusiasm infectious. It was a simple game, yet it felt monumental in that moment. With the weight of her brother's judgment and her family's expectations slipping away, she found herself staring at the sky, heart racing at the possibility of wishing for anything. What do you want to wish for? The girl asked, still bouncing on her toes. I want to find my own path, Jenna murmured, the words escaping before she had a chance to think them through. It was more than a wish, it was a confession, a tiny piece of her truth laid bare. The little girl nodded thoughtfully, as if she completely understood. Then let us wish together. They both closed their eyes and blew soft kisses to the stars, a luminous promise whispered into the vastness. What did you wish for? The girl inquired, her voice a soft hum. Jenna opened her eyes, wanting to hold on to that magic. If I tell you, it might not come true, she replied, smiling. But there was a flicker of doubt that lingered in her heart. Could she really carve out a life where she felt like her own person, free from the past? As they resumed their game, Marcus watched from afar, caught between amusement and admiration for Jenna's lightheartedness. He saw her begin to shed the layers of uncertainty, each laugh a step toward a future she had long avoided. But just then, the tension from her brother seemed to crack the warmth of the moment like ice underfoot. "Jenna!" he called, the warning sharp in the night air. "Stop playing around and face reality. This isn't how life works." The joy in Jenna's eyes faltered for a split second, sliding into confusion. Reality. The word felt like a storm cloud, threatening to drown the light the child had rekindled. "Why can't I have both?" she found herself saying, the question spilling forth like a plea. Her heart raced not out of fear, but from defiance. She wanted to stand her ground, but anger bubbled at the edges of her calm. "What you want doesn't matter. You have responsibilities," he shouted, frustration coloring every word. "Ignoring this one make it go away." Jenna felt a rush of warmth turn to ice. The little girl, sensing the shift, squeezed Jenna's hand tighter. "You can be brave," she said, looking up at her as if she were the wisest person in the world. That innocent wisdom broke through Jenna's defenses and filled her with a resolve she hadn't anticipated. "You're right," she said, kneeling down to the little girl's level, "but I also deserve to dream." As her brother scoffed again, she turned back to Marcus, seeking support in his gaze. His eyes were soft, filled with an unspoken understanding. "You can dream and be responsible," he said quietly. "Life is about balance." Jenna's heart clamped down tight. She needed to balance the tug of family, the flicker of freedom, and the innocence of this child before her. Back in the clearing, the laughter of the girl struck a chord deep within her. What freedom awaited if she fought for it, if she truly dreamed? With every laugh, she felt the pull toward possibility. But would she have the courage to pursue it once again? As stars twinkled above, an idea began to bloom in her mind, a spark of a plan that might just change everything. But when morning broke, would she find the strength to make her dreams take flight? Or would the harsh light of reality drag her back into the shadows? The stars began to fade as dawn crept upon the horizon, whispering promises of a new day. Jenna felt the cool breeze brush against her skin, awakening her senses. It was a quiet reminder that while the night had held magic, the light of dawn brought clarity and choice. She watched as the little girl twirled in the grass, her laughter ringing out like a song. Jenna wished she could tuck that sound away in her pocket, pulling it out whenever life grew heavy again. Strangely, she found comfort in the child's ease, a reflection of freedom she longed for herself. "Let's go on an adventure," the girl declared, her spirit unwavering. Jenna chuckled at her enthusiasm, but her mind raced. Adventure? Could she even juggle that idea with everything else pressing down on her? Before she could think too hard, the girl grabbed her hand and tugged her toward the edge of the woods. "Where to?" Jenna asked, her voice barely masking the uncertainty that had crept back in. "Anywhere. We'll find treasures," the girl exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with undiluted joy. With a grin breaking through her worries, Jenna started to walk beside her. "Treasures, huh? Like finding a shiny rock or a pretty leaf? Or maybe a hidden path that leads to a castle?" the girl offered, her voice full of wonder. The playful banter flowed between them, and Jenna couldn't help but feel a shift inside, a glimmer of the dreams she had hidden away. As they trotted along the path, the trees thinned out, giving way to an open field bathed in the golden light of morning. Here, the weight of her brother's harsh words faded. In this space, Jenna seemed to find room to breathe. But as they explored the field, they stumbled upon a scene that made Jenna's heart drop. A small camp stood off to the side, a makeshift home of tattered blankets and scattered belongings. The realization hit her, they weren't alone. A woman sat by the campfire, her face lined with weariness. In her arms, a baby slept soundly, unaware of the world outside their little refuge. "Look," the girl whispered, tugging at Jenna's sleeve. "They must need help." Jenna hesitated. It was frightening to think about engaging with someone who lived on the fringes. But a tug in her heart reminded her of the innocence and kindness she felt moments before. "Come on, let us see if they're okay," the girl urged, her tiny feet already heading toward the camp. Jenna followed, her heart pounding. As they approached, the woman looked up, surprise flashing across her features, quickly replaced by a timid smile. "Good morning," Jenna managed, her voice shaky but warm. "Morning," the woman replied, a gentle weariness in her tone. "Do you need something?" The little girl piped up, "We want to give you this." She pulled a few wildflowers from her tiny hands and reached out. "They're for you." The woman's eyes softened as she accepted the humble gift. "Thank you, dear." There was something about the way she held the flowers that sparked an idea in Jenna's head. "Maybe I could help too," Jenna said, surprising herself. Maybe this was the path she needed to explore the power of connection that flourished in unexpected places. But just as she began to step forward, doubts clawed at her again. What could she do to help? Wasn't she just another person lost in her own worries? But then she remembered the wishes they had made. The dreams she had whispered in the dark. "I can cook," she suddenly declared, surprising even herself. "I can bring food. I can help you with anything you need." The woman studied Jenna for a moment, her gaze searching and cautious. The little girl stood proudly at her side, as if she held the weight of the world. But could Jenna really step away from her fears? Could she truly take responsibility for her own journey, while also reaching out to someone in need? With her heart in her throat, Jenna took a deep breath, hoping to find the resolve buried beneath her worries. This could be the moment to weave together the strands of her own life with that of another. "What do you think?" she asked, a flicker of nervous hope lighting her eyes. As the sun rose higher, illuminating the path ahead, Jenna could feel the pulse of change. Would she dare to grasp it? Or was fear still going to hold her back in the shadows? The warmth of the sun seemed to push aside the mist of doubt that lingered in Jenna's mind. She took another step forward, her fingers trembling slightly as she brushed back her hair. The woman's gaze was heavy, laden with the weight of untold stories, yet there was something hopeful flickering deep within it. "Yes," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Help is always welcome. We've fallen on hard times." The little girl squeezed Jenna's hand, radiating encouragement. "See? You can help." The sincerity in her voice filled Jenna with a strange combo of anxiety and hope. "I'll be back," Jenna promised, her voice stronger now. "I can bring food and maybe some clothes. I'll make us something warm to eat." The woman's smile widened just a fraction, but it was enough for Jenna to see the gratefulness behind her tired eyes. "Thank you, truly. I never asked for help before," she confessed, her thin shoulders sagging just slightly. Jenna could hardly imagine what that meant. She had always viewed the world through a lens of privilege, on the outside looking in at those truly struggling. Her heart ached for people like this woman, yet she felt an unexpected sense of connection blooming like a bridge forming between their lives. "What's your name?" Jenna questioned, wanting to connect more deeply. "Lena," the woman answered, gently shifting the baby in her arms. "And this is little Sam." "Hi, Sam." The little girl waved enthusiastically, and Jenna couldn't suppress her smile either. The stark contrast between the vibrancy of the child and the muted tones of the camp tugged at her heartstrings. "Okay, Lena, stay right here. I promise I won't take long," Jenna said, turning to the little girl. "Ready for an adventure?" "Yes." The girl squealed, bouncing on her heels. "Treasure hunting and cooking." As they jogged back toward her car, Jenna's mind was alive with thoughts. Could she really make a difference? Would the food even matter? As they reached the vehicle, she searched the trunk for anything useful, a cookbook she hadn't looked at in years, a blanket she had tossed aside, anything to help them. "I'm going to make soup," Jenna declared, enthusiasm bubbling up as she imagined the warmth filling the woman's makeshift home. The girl nodded eagerly, her wide eyes shining as bright as the sun. Back in her cozy kitchen, Jenna filled the pot with water, vegetables, and spices. Chopping up carrots and celery, she felt a sense of purpose bloom inside her. As the broth began to simmer, a comforting scent began to weave through the air, filling her with hope. "Do you think they'll like it?" she asked the little girl, glancing over her shoulder. "Everyone loves soup." The girl beamed, clapping her small hands together. The truth in her words resonated within Jenna. In that moment, she felt a shift, not just in herself but in the fabric of her life. She realized her fears had been shrouding the actual magic within her, the little moments where connection could thrive. As evening approached, Jenna packed bags with soup, clothes, and the small blanket. With every item she gathered, her heart beat a little stronger, a little faster. She was stepping into the unknown, reaching out to someone who needed it just as much as she did. When they returned to the camp, the shadows crept longer, the air cooling as twilight settled in. Jenna's heart raced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Would Lena be waiting? Would the baby be okay? Each question felt like a stepping stone across a stream. Would they hold her weight? As they neared the campfire, the flickering flame illuminated Lena's strained expression, but hope sparked in her eyes when she saw Jenna approaching with bags in hand. "Did you really come back?" she asked, a mixture of surprise and relief washing over her face. "I did," Jenna replied, her voice steady now. "I brought you some food and some clothes." Just then, a soft whimper broke the night, and Jenna watched as Lena gently rocked Sam. Would this be the moment that changed everything for her? But the raw emotion of the moment caught Jenna off guard. She felt the ties of her own fears loosening just a little. In this encounter, healing was taking root. In giving, they were both receiving in ways they never expected. Yet another question bubbled in Jenna's chest, hovering between them and the challenge awaiting of forging a bond amid such a struggle. Could kindness change everything? As the night deepened, shadows mingled with the warm glow of the fire. Jenna sensed a new journey unfolding. She took a breath, letting hope unfurl within her. But in the quiet of the night, a soft voice echoed through her heart. Was she ready for what it would truly mean to open herself up to someone she had just met? The sun broke through the horizon, bathing the community center in golden light. The air hummed with anticipation, and voices of laughter bounced against the walls. Jenna stood by the entrance, a vibrant spark of energy at her core. The day had arrived, the donation event she had helped plan with Marcus. It felt monumental, marking her journey of connection, healing, and newfound purpose. Beside her, Marcus adjusted his tie, shooting Jenna a warm smile. "You ready for this?" "More than ever," she replied, a smile brightening her face. She could feel her heart lifting. Jenna thought of the soup the night before, the way the warmth of sharing had washed over her. That tiny act had opened doors she'd long kept shut. Together, they stepped inside, unleashing a wave of hope and energy. The room was buzzing, tables lined with goods, volunteers organizing stacks of clothing, a mural of kindness painted on the walls. This place brimmed with love, a celebration of community spirit. "What do you think?" Marcus asked, excitement painting his voice. "It's incredible!" Jenna exclaimed, her eyes bright. She marveled at how far they'd come together. Just weeks ago, they were lost herself, still grappling with family expectations, and Marcus haunted by grief and disconnection. Now, here they were, united by a shared mission, transforming their past struggles into a beacon of hope. As people began to enter the center, families with bright smiles lit up the room, their eyes reflecting gratitude. It was electric, the connection, the kindred spirits all coming together. Jenna stepped forward instinctively, ready to greet them. "Welcome. We're so glad you're here." Her voice rang out with warmth, feeling genuine and true. Behind her, Marcus jumped in, sharing stories and jokes, making everyone feel at ease. They worked seamlessly, embodying a partnership that glowed with mutual respect and admiration. Hours passed, laughter and joy filling the space. But as twilight approached, a sudden hush fell upon the gathering. Jenna glanced around nervously, her eyes landing on the entrance. The door creaked open, and in walked Lena, the very woman whose camp had sparked Jenna's transformation. Her eyes shimmered, yet shadows were cast across her face. Holding little Sam tightly, she stood hesitantly before them. "Lena!" Jenna called out, her heart racing. The room shifted, and eyes turned toward the new arrival. Lena stepped forward, a mix of hope and fear dancing in her gaze. "I heard about the event," she said softly, "and I wanted to see if I could get help." Jenna rushed to her side, feeling protective and empowered. "Of course, you can. We've got everything you need," she replied, motioning toward the tables of donations. "You're not alone, Lena. This is a community." Lena examined the room full of faces, and something inside her shifted. She broke into a weary smile, the corners of her lips lifting like sunlight breaking through clouds. "I haven't had a community in so long." Jenna felt tears prick at her eyes. "You're here now," she said firmly. "Let us help you." As they embraced, the room swelled with applause, a chorus of voices echoing the essence of love and connection. They celebrated together, as new and old friends mingled, revealing stories of struggle and resilience. In that moment, Jenna understood, she wasn't just helping Lena, she was embracing her own journey of healing. Later in the evening, as they stood outside, Jenna and Marcus exchanged glances, each recognizing the profound change engraved within them. "This is just the beginning, right?" Marcus said, a hopeful smile breaking across his face. "Absolutely," Jenna replied, warmth filling her heart. "We have the power to create so much more." Together, they turned to the sky, which was painted in breathtaking hues, and in that moment, surrounded by voices of hope and unity, they felt transformed. The bonds of yesterday were fading, replaced by the love and appreciation blossoming around them. As they watched the sun dip beneath the horizon, the weight of their pasts lightened. They were ready to keep forging ahead. To help others and themselves, embracing whatever came next with open hearts, and as they shared laughter and stories beneath the fading light, Jenna felt the flicker of certainty. She was walking into a future full of promises, not just for herself, but for everyone they touched. Now was the time for connection, for raising one another up, igniting a chain reaction of kindness that could light up the world. This was their moment and they wouldn't let it go. If you felt moved by this story, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. This is the moment to show your support and help us reach those who need it most.